Hey guys, welcome to Trail Kale Running Co. I'm Helen, and in this review I'm taking a look at the Salomon Thundercross trail running shoes. That's these guys right here. I'm out here on the trails in Northern California where I'm going to be putting the Salomon Thundercross to the test. We've got everything on these trails. We've got single track with some gnarly routes. We've got some rocky fire road sections. We've got some ridges. We've got lots of loose leaves, loose dirt, steep ups, steep downs, plain pancake flat fire roads to open up your speed on, and we're going to see how they perform on all of those terrains. If you're not familiar with Trail Kale Running Co, we're a website, trailandkale.com, and YouTube channel where we review trail running shoes, road running shoes and other running gear, as well as providing free training plans, tips and advice. For more information, head over to our YouTube channel and subscribe for more videos just like this, and visit our website trailandkale.com for written in-depth reviews. In this review, I'm going to be covering the key features of the Salomon Thundercross, including what kind of runner and what kind of running they're best suited to, how they perform on the trails in all the scenarios I just described, and whether they're worth the $140 price tag. I'll also let you know some other trail running shoes to consider if you're looking at these and decide these ones aren't quite right for you, what other shoes you may want to take a look at. So a quick look at the key features of the Salomon Thundercross then. As I mentioned, they cost $140. They have a 4mm drop from heel to toe. That's 31mm at the back and 27mm at the front. So fairly low to the ground and significantly lower drop than the Salomon Speedcross 6, which is probably another trail running shoe you're looking at if you're looking at Salomon running shoes. These shoes weigh 8.5 ounces for my size, which is a US women's 7.5, so pretty lightweight for a pair of trail running shoes of this caliber that are designed for all mountain trail running. That's all terrain, including the more gnarly stuff. They have Salomon's Contour Grip outsole with 5mm lugs. Salomon Contour Grip's pretty well known in the trail running world as being pretty grippy, quite high end when it comes to providing reliable grip on a wide range of surfaces, so we're going to be putting that to the test as best we can on these dry trails here in Northern California. Let's take a closer look at some of the design features of these trail running shoes. Starting with the upper then, we have a mesh here, not the most breathable, but what this mesh is doing, it's stretchy and has very, very small holes. It's designed to not let a load of dirt into your shoe as you run. This area, this blue section here, is not rock solid, but it does provide some protection from kicking rocks and roots, and more durability around the top of the shoe. As you can see, the outsole wraps around the toe here, and that is pretty solid, so right at the end of your foot you have some good protection there. These shoes feature Salomon's quick lace system, which is these narrow laces which lace up with this plastic pull tab here. So to tighten the shoes, you squeeze and pull the tab, then you're left with this surprisingly long lace. I haven't had a lace this long left over on a pair of Salomon running shoes, so I'm grateful for the fact that the tongue has an integrated stretchy mesh lace garage where we can tuck it in, as you can see on the other foot here. So it's a very neat solution once it's all tightened up. I'm wearing my regular size in these shoes, which is, as I said, a US women's 7.5, but as you can see, I've had to actually cinch down the laces quite significantly to get a good fit around to hold my foot in place. This surprised me quite a lot with these shoes because Salomon running shoes, in my experience, tend to run fairly narrow. So actually I had really a good amount of width in the toe of the Thundercross and had to cinch it down to make sure my foot wasn't moving within the shoe and to ensure that I had a decent heel lock at the back. So we don't have an extra eyelet here, and there's obviously no loose normal regular shoelaces, so I can't do something like a racer's loop heel lock to provide me with that extra lock in. So I really need to cinch these down and get that tucked in so I can have a nice locked in fit. Nothing fancy around the ankle, collar section, around the heel, slight padding, very comfortable, fits quite nicely with my socks, my no-show tab socks here. Midsole is denoted by this blue section, and then if we take a look at the outsole then, we have these pretty gnarly Y-shaped lugs all along the shoe, different shapes in different areas of the shoe. You've even got lugs in the middle where often on some trail running shoes they don't put lugs at all. So we've got a good amount of grip all throughout the shoe, which is important if you really don't care where you're landing on your foot. Maybe you're running over some really technical terrain and you want to make sure you've got grip underfoot, even if you're landing in the middle of your foot in some instances. Once I cinch the laces down, I'm pretty happy with the fit of these shoes. That being said, I would suggest that if you tend to be on the smaller side of your regular size, you may want to go down half a size in these shoes so you don't have to cinch the laces down quite so much as I've had to. I think it's going to give you an even better fit, and the shoes are going to look better because you don't have the upper kind of ruffled up there where the laces have really had to pull the sides of the shoe in together. That's enough of the key features. Let's go and hit the trails again. Okay, so having put these shoes to the test on pretty much every terrain, every gradient I could get my feet on, I'm now ready to share with you my performance review of the Salomon Thundercross. So starting with the upper then, as you saw earlier, I had to cinch it down pretty significantly with the quick lace system in order to get a good fit in the upper. However, since I did that, I do have a really good fit and my feet feel locked in without them feeling too overly tight. So I'm pretty happy, although I still stand by my suggestion to size down half a size, particularly if you run on the sort of lower end of your regular size. I think that would probably be a better fit for you. If we take a closer look at some of the other features on the upper, a lot of Salomon running shoes have these firmer sort of V-shaped sections either side which tie into the lacing system. These are firmer than the rest of the upper here. Now, I did find that I had to run a couple of miles before these felt broken in, so it did feel a little bit tight here as these pulled around the side of my foot, and partly because of how I had to do the laces. But now they seem to have broken in a little bit, so just a couple of miles, one run in them, and they feel pretty good. Now, the rest of the upper, I mentioned before, is not the most breathable, but that being said, even though it's quite hot here in the summer here in California, it doesn't feel like my feet are too hot and sweaty. And I think that's due to the fit being relatively loose for a Salomon shoe, so still held in, but not feeling like they're too cinched down and, you know, really hugging my foot like some other shoes, such as the La Sportiva Levante, which is a women's trail running shoe I reviewed recently, where you do really feel that you've got that sort of snug held in foot. I don't have that with this shoe as much. That being said, I've been running in all sorts of terrain in these shoes, including some pretty gnarly stuff, and I feel really confident in them on the ups and the downs, even on some of this loose dirt that you can see. In terms of the outsole then, as expected, Salomon creates some of the best outsoles out there. Salomon's Contour Grip is almost as good as Vibram Mega Grip, which we're seeing on some other trail running shoes from other brands. Salomon uses Contour Grip on pretty much all their trail running shoes for good reason. It's got those aggressive lug patterns, those Y-shaped lugs that I showed you earlier in this video. I'll overlay a picture now so you can take a closer look at that. Really, really great grip on the loose leaves and loose dirt, as well as the flatter rocky sections. Like I said, I haven't been able to test those in the wet yet, but Salomon does say these shoes are good for muddy conditions. So let me know if you tried them out yourself in the mud and wet. I'd love to hear from you and hear your experiences running in the Salomon Thundercross. A quick note on cushioning then. Salomon describes the Thundercross as maximal cushioned, so the most cushioning that they'd put in a trail running shoe. There is definitely a lot of cushioning in the midsole here, so it's really comfortable, but also pretty responsive. I would not describe this as plush like you might expect with a maximal cushioned road running shoe. There's definitely a lot of ground feel. That said, any sharp rocks sticking out underfoot, you can feel them slightly, but they're not sharp, so you still have that good ground feel, which I think is important in a pair of trail running shoes for your proprioception and just generally for your enjoyment of trail running. Because of this level of cushioning, I would wear these shoes for a range of trail distances, everything from just, you know, a couple of miles, 5k, through to I would run trail marathons in these shoes. Very comfortable, and been getting more comfortable the more I've been wearing them as they've broken into my feet. In terms of similar trail running shoes that you can take a look at if you're looking at the Salomon Thundercross and wondering what else is out there, you should take a look at the Brooks Catamount 3 that Alistair reviewed recently. We've got a video of that as well on our YouTube channel, as well as some of the Hoka trail running shoes, including Hoka Mafat 4 and Hoka Speedcross 6 that we have video reviews of as well. Similar drop, similar feel, great all-terrain trail running shoes. You could also look at the new Nike Zegama 2 that Alistair reviewed recently. That's another all-mountain trail running shoe for you to consider. So are the Salomon Thundercross worth the $140 price tag? I'd say emphatically yes. $140 is a really great price for a pair of trail running shoes that you can run in all terrain. So these aren't door to trail shoes that are designed for light trails and a bit of pavement. You can run on a wide variety of trails with these. These are proper mountain conquerors designed by Salomon. You know, they're based in the French Alps. They know what they're talking about when it comes to trail running shoes. They've been doing it a long time. The Thundercross is a really great newer model of Salomon trail running shoes that really sits in that sweet spot, for at least for me, with this 4mm drop, as well as having the capability to run in all types of terrain, so you don't have to worry about having the wrong pair of shoes on if you want to run somewhere different or not. These are trail running shoes that you could wear every day for all your trail runs. I feel like really good in terms of durability. Like I said, I had to wear them in for a couple of miles just to get the upper to flex a little bit, but once they warmed up, I guess molded to my feet a little bit, I'm really happy with the fit. I also know that if I wore them in colder weather and I chose to wear slightly thicker socks, that the shoes would accommodate that as well. They wouldn't feel overly tight because I could just have the laces a little bit looser and still feel good about that. So you could wear them all year round as well. So yeah, great value for money from Salomon. Definitely recommend you check them out. If you've been put off by Salomon running shoes in the past, because some of them did tend to come up quite narrow in the past, you might want to take another look at these, because I do not feel like they're narrow. I reviewed a lot of trail running shoes, worn a lot of Salomon and other brands, and these are probably I'd say on the wider side of regular, so quite different to what you may have experienced in the past with Salomon. Well, that's it from me with the Salomon Thundercross review. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a like. It really helps our channel, and subscribe to our channel for more running shoe reviews just like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.